there, Retro Games fans. This is Andy C from Piece of 8-Bit. Welcome to this week's video, where we will be taking a bit of a break from the Sega Saturn, which is in our living room at the moment, on the Month With review. And we're going to be doing something a little bit different. And that little thing that's different will be that we're going to be doing an unboxing, and we're going to be doing a first impressions. Now, if you've clicked on this video, you already know what it's about, and that is the new reimagined Quickshot joystick. Something which I pre-ordered last year. A bit cross with Amazon because this video should have come out last week because I expected it to come later. I pre-ordered it. It was supposed to come pretty much the day it launched, and then Amazon told me it wasn't going to come until the 7th of Feb. It actually came a bit earlier, but I'd already recorded Friday's video by that point, so I was a bit grumpy about it. So I'm actually filming this a week and a half before you're seeing it. Hopefully there is still some interest in seeing it. I'm going to do an unboxing in a minute. I've got the Amiga 500 Mini behind me, ready to plug it in and have a go with it. Please excuse all of these cables all over the place. There is a reason for it. One day I might talk to you a little bit about how I do my filming. That seems to be very much in trend at the moment, to talk a bit about all the behind the scenes, but maybe one day I'll tell you all about it. There is a reason for it. I won't bore you with details, but needless to say, I'm going to get this unboxed with you guys, and you can see it's still in the Amazon box. I haven't even opened that yet. And then we're going to plug it in and we're going to have a go with it, and I'll give you some first impressions. And I think there's a little bit of setup you've got to do if you've got things like the C64 Mini. I think there's a certain bit of setup that you've got to do to map it, but we'll have a look into that, and I'll talk about all of that when we get to it. So without any further ado, and I'm so excited about this. It's only a blooming joystick, yeah, let's get and unbox this thing. I'll see you there. Right then, let's get into this. I've just loosened the tape a little bit on here, but you can see I haven't opened it yet. So let's have a bit of an unboxing here and have a look at this device. Right, let's move that out of the way. And there it is, the Quickshot II with auto fire switch. Is it on the back? I can't remember what the original box looks like, but I have a feeling it feels familiar. Let's put it that way. It definitely feels familiar. Now I'm going to have the usual problem of not being able to get into the top of this thing. Let's have a look. Alright. That was relatively easy, I think, or was it? Last thing I want to do is break the box. I've done this before when I've got something new and I've broken the box within 5 seconds of getting it. Okay, how do we get this out of here? Alright, well, this was a relatively painless unboxing, that's for sure. And there it is. And that's all you get in there. There's nothing else in there, just the joystick itself. Supposed to have quite a long lead with it. So there you go, that is it. Got very micro switchy clicky. You got your auto fire button at the bottom there. Very much like the old thing. Oh, that brings back some memories, I can tell you. So there you go. There's not much to the unboxing. There's not lots of packaging. There's no additional software or leads or anything else like that. It is literally just the joystick. Cost me, I think they're about £35, give or take. It feels exactly like the original. You put your hand around that, and it no, you thought it, not me. That'll take you right back to the 80s, right there. It's really cool. I've been waiting for this for so long. I've been super excited about getting it. So that's it then. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly hook it up to the Amiga 500, and then we're going to have a quick go of it and see how we get on. Should be quite straightforward, but I've got Zool running. You can probably just sort of see it in the background here. So we've got Zool running, and yeah, we're going to have a go with that because it's quite tricky with the gamepad, Zool. So I'm going to see if it's any easier with the Quickshot. Yeah, let's just dive into that. Let's do a bit of gameplay and see how we get on. I'll see you in there. Right then, let's have a look at this then. So we've got our 500 carousel here. I'm going to have a go with Zool because essentially I remember Zool being quite tricky to play with the gamepad. Well, I say remember, I just had a go with it a minute ago and I'm absolutely rubbish at it. Now I'm universally terrible at this game at the best of times. I'm hoping that the joystick makes more sense because that's how I always remember playing it back in the day. And maybe we'll have another look at another game It might be that we have a look at the Commodore 64 as well, because there is a compatibility mode that we need to put it into to get it to work. But let's dive into Zool first and give that a go. Alright, here we go. This was sort of Gremlin's answer to Sonic, I suppose, in many ways. Great game, and I was rubbish at it at the time, and I'm pretty rubbish at it now. I've got the joystick on the using the suction cups on my desk, so it shouldn't move. It should be nice and sturdy. Feels very new. All right, here we go. It's very clicky, as you can probably hear. Click, click, click. The microphone's not too far away from the joystick, although you can't see it at the moment. But let's give this a go. Come on, let's go. All right. So we've got fire and okay. So pushing up jumps, and also pressing the top trigger button also jumps. Oh, that is actually already. I can tell that's easy. Okay, already it's getting up here that I always that is incredibly. That's so much easier. I spent oh dear. I spent ages. I hate these B things. Alright, hang on. Alright, there we go. Oh, this is outrageously easier. It's so much better. I'm being rubbish at it. Please ignore my hopelessness at this. But this is so much easier, I can promise you. The only downside, I would say, is the fact that when you press up on the joystick, it jumps, which is very easy to do. So sometimes you jump when you don't want to. But I've already got way much further than I had. Hang on, how do I get this? How do I get this here? Come on, go red. There we go. Getting up the walls is so much easier. Trying to do that with the D-pad is practically impossible. I've got another buddy here. I haven't got the sound on actually. I just realised I can't actually hear what's going on. This is so much easier. I'm making a dog's breakfast of it. I appreciate that, and I'm sure you're all screaming at me now. But I'll tell you what, this is so much easier, and you can feel like this game was designed for this kind of input, and not things like the gamepad. I'm not a big fan of the Amiga gamepad. It's okay, but I'm not a huge fan of it. It's just the sort. Games like this were just designed for joystick, and so it just makes so much more sense to play it like this. Alright. I'm just concentrating now. Okay. Oh, I died. Have I got any more lives left? I do. Oh, I hope if I didn't do that, wouldn't it? It really would. Oh, yeah. Got bouncing around everywhere like a maniac. Oh, well, what have I forgotten? Oh, I'm so poor at this game. Oh, no, there's an interesting... That's an interesting problem right there. I've just leant on the home button with my hand, and it's just taken me back out. Actually, maybe let's have another look at a different game. So what else we got here? I'm thinking Chaos Engine, that could be a good chat. Shame I haven't got Lotus on here. Oh, Stunt Car Racer. Let's have a look at that one. And again, this is a game that is quite tricky with the. Now this is going to be interesting. How do I get the keyboard up? There we go. Oh, okay. I'm not sure what's happened there. Can't actually see the bottom of my screen. Move that. I'm not sure what's going on. Let's go practice. Tracks in Division 1. Practice the drawbridge. Let's see how we go here. Okay. Oh, actually, do you know what? I said right back when I started my channel that I was going to review this game, and I never quite got to it. But we will, because at some point I'm going to be doing the... I will be doing an Amiga. I've got an Amiga, my original Amiga 500, which I want to review. And I've also got the Amiga 1200 coming in June. Oh, hello. I already wrecked my car. I reckon I might have done. Airtime! This is bad. Oh no, I got away with it. How did I get away with that? Oh man, this makes so much more sense. I've played this with the gamepad, and yeah, I am pretty hopeless at it, but it makes so much more sense with the joystick. Now, I've heard a few people that are not particularly happy with this. I don't really know why, but certainly from my first impressions already, this seems to make a lot of sense. What I haven't done is tried this with games on things like on the, like on the Mac or PC, like ordinary games. Oh, how did I get away with that? All right. So there you go. That's it with the Amiga 500, just as I crash off there. Oh, dear me. Maybe I won't do a review of this. But that's, yeah, there you go. That is a review of the Amiga 500. So far, pretty impressed. Only played a couple of games there for just a few minutes, but first impressions seem pretty good. Very clicky. Obviously, that's those little micro switches that are in there. But it's got a good feel to it. It's got a good feel. The fire buttons feel like they were on the original Quickshot II. What I haven't done yet is have a go at the using the quick fire button. But let's have a go now at. I'm going to get the Commodore 64 Mini out, and I'll talk to you about putting it in compatibility mode, and we'll have a quick go at the game on there and see how it plays on an older system. And yeah, let's dive into that. Okay, alright, so here we go then. This is the C64 Mini. Now, to get the machine into compatibility, essentially, you need to map the buttons differently. So if you will work with the Commodore 64 Mini, but you want to sort of just modify the buttons. Essentially, what you need to do is press the X and Y button and the L and R button, the red buttons on the base of the joystick, hold them all down together for 3 seconds, and you will get it into compatibility mode. So I have just given it a quick go just to make sure that it does actually work, and it does appear to work. I assume whilst the computer is switched on that it will stay in that mode. So let's go and quickly have a go at Impossible Mission, which, as many of you know, is one of my favourite games on the Commodore 64. Let's have a quick go with this for a minute or two. Okay, that's a good start. Why is that not working? Aha, there we go. Don't quite know what happened there for a second. Slight delay. That's probably almost certainly user error. All right, and yeah, I mean, it's nice and easy in the same way that it was on the Amiga. Again, this is a game where it kind of makes a lot of sense to have. So if I just try and do a bit of a jump, use the fire button for that by the looks of it. Yep. I don't think it matters which fire button actually. Now if I do this, oh, that's not gone well, has it? Let's see if I can get it to go over here. Didn't know that was a thing. Oh, maybe I did. Maybe I just forgot. Well, let's just search around in here a little bit more. Puzzle piece. And that seems to have got rid of the... that's for the platforms. Oh yeah, that's right. I don't need that, do I? I'll just leave here then. Oh yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Now, obviously with the Commodore 64 Mini, you do also get the Commodore 64 joystick with it. So you may feel that you don't necessarily need to use this. Obviously, you've already got a pretty decent joystick with it already. Hello. But I think the Quickshot II was pretty prevalent on the Commodore 64. So it's kind of cool. Nice thing about this is it is just easier. Oh, it's so much easier. There's so much more precision with this. So it does just make this a lot easier. Oh, this is really, really making me want to play Impossible Mission. I love this game, and this joystick is definitely making it better. One thing that is kind of weird, I suppose, is the... I guess, is the... I'm going to get zapped now, aren't I? Yeah, one thing that is... there we go. just because I like this game doesn't mean I'm actually any good at it. I can't remember what I was saying now. Yeah, the clickiness is a bit weird. You know, having the micro switches, obviously the original Quickshot doesn't have it. What I will do after we play, we're going to have another quick go. I'm just going to test out the auto fire function on this on a game. And then I have got an old Quickshot. I don't have a Quickshot 2. I only have a Quickshot 1. But I will just do a quick comparison before I wrap up and tell you what I thought about this Quickshot 2. So let's go and load a different game. So there's one that I had in mind. Should be good, hopefully a good example of this. If I go back this way, oh, there's Impossible Mission 2 there as well. I forgot about that. I'll tell you what, this Commodore 64 Mini, there are so many good games on here. So let's play Armalyte, which is a bit of a, it's a sort of a R-type game. So let's give this a go. But it's a good game for testing the auto fire on. So let's give this a go. So basically, if you don't use the, oh, the auto fire isn't working on this game. Okay. If you don't do the compatibility mode, it basically, you have to press the little side buttons. Okay, so maybe, not sure, maybe I need a game, maybe it doesn't work with the compatibility mode on the Commodore 64. If any of you had a go at this and you've had it yourself, I'll tell you what though, this makes so much more sense as well on a joystick. Despite being absolutely rubbish at it, this game's quite hard actually. Very R-type. But what's that then? Oh, kind of. This is one way where you really do want the auto fire to work. Okay, I'm being pretty pants at this, aren't I? I apologise for the loud clicking everywhere. Oh, it just makes more sense. Do you know D-pads for games like this that were just designed? Yeah, it makes more sense. Although I'm not necessarily any good at it. There you go. That's Armalyte. I was hoping that the auto fire might work on there, but it didn't. So I'm not quite sure why. Maybe we need to play a game just in standard mode, maybe on the Amiga 500 Mini to get it to work. So probably that's one thing to experiment with. But yeah, there you go then. So seems to work quite well on the Commodore 64. Obviously only played for a couple of minutes there. I'm going to play it a little bit more before I come back and do a review with you. Yeah, for you that will just be a few seconds. For me that will be maybe a little bit longer, and I might just have to go back and play a little bit more of Impossible Mission. And yeah, I will also just do a quick comparison of the original joystick as well before we wrap up. So without any further ado, let's get into that final review and comparison. I'll see you there. Okay, so I've been playing for a little bit longer, so I just want to give you my final opinions on it. But before I dive into that, I just want to talk a little bit about the comparisons with the original Quickshot. Now, I don't own a Quickshot 2, I only own a Quickshot 1. So this is for my original Amiga, and I've got an Amiga 500. Now, as it happens, actually this joystick is pretty much dead. I can't really use it anymore, so I had to replace it with this one. Which is fine, that's all good. But yeah, for all intents and purposes, it's good for a comparison, so I'm glad that I hang on to it, because even though it doesn't work anymore. Yeah, so basically, the key difference, if you look at the new one here, so the big key difference here, visually, is that you've got these buttons down the side for compatibility. So you've got an X and Y button, an L and R button, and then you've got a little menu hamburger button here, which on the Amiga 500, for instance, will bring up the keyboard, although for the I just plug in a keyboard, honestly. That little side keyboard thing that you get when you need to put input text is a nightmare. It's one thing I'm looking forward to with the full-size Amiga 1200 when it comes. Obviously, I've got an original Amiga 500 as well, but the 500 Mini is just handy for playing with things. But yeah, plug a keyboard in if you need it. And then a home button as well, which will take you back to the carousel if you're using any of the Retro Games devices, such as the C64 Mini, the VIC-20 Mini, or of course the Amiga 500 Mini. So visually, that's the sort of main difference. In terms of actual playability itself, then there are some sort of pretty key differences. So to hold the joystick feels pretty much the same. It feels very comfortable, as the Quickshots always did. You know, from a grip point of view, you can see here it's pretty much identical in terms of the sort of look of it. But the main difference is that this is a micro switched device, so you can hear, if I hold this up to the microphone, as I move that around, you can hear the little switches clicking inside, and also the buttons themselves are quite clicky, whereas on the original one it was a different sort of design inside, and so Part of the reason why I think this was a little bit unreliable actually was it was slightly different. So you can see it's more sort of analog. You don't get that clicky noise, and again with the buttons, not quite as clicky. Now, I think some people have been kind of annoyed about that. I think some people are a bit grumpy about it and saying that it's not the same, and it isn't really exactly the same. But I think you have to have a balance between making something that was exactly like it was in the 1980s versus making something that is going to be suitable for the modern era, suitable for these modern reimagined units, have a bit more longevity to it, but ultimately still strikes that right balance of playability and compatibility as well. So I don't mind the clickiness. Obviously when I'm recording it's noisy, you know, clicks and buttons mashing and whatever is very noisy, but that doesn't matter. When you play games like Zool, which was designed to be played on a joystick, and then you play it on a gamepad, it just doesn't really make any sense. And I think the problem is that we're so used to sort of modern controllers like this, where you've got the analog joysticks and you've got your D-pad and all sorts of different ways of inputting into the machine that you're playing on. We're very used to holding a gamepad now and very used to the sort of thumb joystick thing. And this makes a lot of sense. And games have obviously been built around the design of these modern console controllers, and that's fantastic. And they work really, really well. But we didn't have that back then. And so games were designed around this sort of device. And when you try and play with a gamepad, even when you play with a sort of older style gamepad like this one, which is the Amiga 500 Mini, the reimagined one, the D-pad just doesn't make any sense. It's not the same as using a joystick. You might think it's not going to be a big difference, but it really is. I find Zool almost unplayable like this, and trying to get up those walls with the D-pad, I thought, mate, is it just me? And then as soon as you play it with the joystick, it just makes so much more sense. Playing Impossible Mission was another example of that. You know, playing a bit more of that with the joystick just made so much more sense. There was more precision because the game was designed to play with that device. So whilst I think probably joysticks in this style have had their day, I think the games that they were designed for make so much more sense with it. Now, another game that I want to go play is Nightlore. I want to go and have another go with Nightlore because I didn't really give it enough of a chance when I played it when I first started my channel. And I went back and I was like, this isn't really working very well. I want to go back and play it with this now I've got it, because I love that game and I couldn't understand why I was struggling with it, why I was so bad at it. And I think some of it might be down to the input device as well. Some other things that I've learned in terms of how I'm doing my video capture and stuff with delays and all that kind of stuff that might have had something to do with it. But I think ultimately it's the device that we're using with those things to play. Now, in terms of compatibility, what I've also done is I've plugged it into my Evercade in the living room, and I put the Bitmap Brothers cartridge in, which is a fantastic cartridge. If you've got an Evercade and you don't have that, definitely go find it. It's got Speedball 2 on it, but it also has Chaos Engine on it. Played this with Chaos Engine. It was weird because Chaos Engine actually is okay with the D-pad. It is very playable with the D-pad. This, again, using the joystick makes so much more sense, but made it more difficult, weirdly, but in a good way. I don't really know how to explain it, but it was more difficult, but made more sense. So I really enjoyed that. So yeah, from a compatibility point of view, plugged it into the Evercade, it just worked. And I think the architecture of this new joystick means that it will work with any game that is designed to work with the Evercade joypad, which of course all of the games will be. This is just designed to work, you know, and give a sort of joypad style input, but obviously from a user perspective, it's a different experience. So made loads of sense, works really well on the Evercade, obviously works well on all the Retro Games consoles. One thing I haven't tried it on yet is the Spectrum, but I will be doing that pretty soon as well. So there you go, hopefully that was useful. Like I said, I think it's a unit that's well worth investing in. If you've got some of these reimagined units or an Evercade, something like that, then it's definitely worth going and playing. I'm going to look into, apparently I've heard a rumour that it is compatible with the original Amiga. Now I assume I need some kind of USB adapter, well I will need a USB adapter for that to put that into serial. I'm quite tempted to give that a go at some point because that could be quite interesting, and that would be a really good way of getting yourself a new joystick on an older machine, because this obviously is long past its best and doesn't really work very well anymore. So that is the problem with these things, they just wear out. So the ability to be able to use a brand new device on the Amiga would be great. And of course, in theory, I should also be able to use the reimagined Amiga 500 mini pad as well, if I wanted to. So I might look into that at some point, but not just yet. But in terms of the reimagined stuff, all works great. In terms of my opinion of it, I think I would give it a solid 4 out of 5. I think it is really good. It makes so much sense for those older games. My only kind of criticism, really, couple of little minor things. One is that when you're using the device, because these buttons here I'm just get it in the camera there. Because these buttons are on the side here, it is very easy to kind of just, as you're moving around and you're in the middle of gameplay, to just lean on that home button and exit yourself from the game. If you're playing on things like the 500, it'll just take you back to the carousel. Otherwise, you can just resume the game, but it's kind of annoying that they're there. So that's a little bit of an irritation, and it is noisy. It is a noisy device with all those micro switches, and it doesn't detract from the gameplay, like I said, but it is quite loud. So that's why I haven't given it a 5 out of 5. It is just a couple of little niggles there. Mainly the thing with the hand. I did that a few times, just kept coming out and knocking the menu button on, so that was a bit of an irritation. I haven't managed to get the auto fire to work yet, but I'm not going to hold that against the joystick. I probably just, I'm guessing that either the game I played with it just wasn't compatible with the auto fire, or maybe it's to do with the compatibility mode. I need to go back and try a few more games and just see if I can get that auto fire button to work. Something like Xenon 2 might be quite useful to see if I can get it to, I didn't even think to try it on the Evercade actually. Maybe see if useful to see if I can get it working on something like Xenon 2 on the Evercade. That might be quite a good use of the auto fire, because that's a game where you constantly just mashing the fire button the whole time. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So there you go. Hopefully that was useful advice. Like I said, they're not very expensive. A £35 I don't think is too unreasonable for that joystick. It's a good way of having something different with all your old devices, as I've already said, so I won't repeat myself. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it. I'm enjoying it. I'm going to go play some more games with it. I'm loving the fact that it's opened up some games that I just was like, I don't remember this being so hard. Play it with the joystick makes loads more sense. So I'm going to go back and play some games that I've just sort of held off playing because I've just not enjoyed them as much as I did before. But yeah, there you go. So coming up in the channel then, we're going to be back to Saturn next week. I'm going to be doing some of the racers, looking at some of the arcade racers. I'm going to be doing something a little bit different in that review, so stay tuned for that. There'll be another bit between as well. I think we're getting rapidly rattling all the way through February already. Yeah, another Sega Saturn inspired bit between coming up next week as well. And yeah, that's probably it for now. Probably just leaves me to say, if you do enjoy these videos, and hopefully today you found it useful as well, please do hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know your memories of the Quickshot in the comments below, and or if you've bought one of these new ones and what your first impressions are, and if you've got a different view to mine. And yeah, I'd love to hear it, or if you're enjoying it as well, of course, let me know that too. Yeah, just leave me to say, please do all take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, bye for now.